Well folks, I am at Royal Berks Fishery, which is a small 3-lake complex. I'm going to describe it: lakes 1, 2 and 3, left hand, middle, right hand. That's how I know them in my mind. I was going to come perch fishing. I've done a perch video here. I did fish in that corner once, a few years back. I haven't been here for some time. And perch fishing lake number 1, which they now say at the moment, speaking back end of the winter, is been rotating stock, moving around, so the perch weren't really switched on. So I just come to a swim with the wind off my back because I've had cold winds, and I've got a swim feeder out by the point of the island, and I'm float fishing just down here in the margins. I have had a couple of little tweaks on sweet corn out there by the island. I've had nothing on the float in there. I'm using my trusty old adapted barrow rest there, so I've got a buzzer on the Quivertip as well. In case I'm filming or look away, I could hear the buzzer beep. And fingers crossed, I'm looking at the guys across the other side of the lake. I haven't seen a fish caught yet. It is just about 10 to 12. Really, really early for me. That's an early one. So, that was the bite. Look, 2. I'm on. Oh, hang on guys. Hang on a minute. I'm going to drop this microphone. That was on camera, and I'm going to be really sick if I think that was a big perch, because it went straight under those bushes. Oh dear. Didn't pop me. Still there. Oh no. How can that? I didn't even think Smith was coming on this trip. He's supposed to be at school. Let's have a look. That was 3 maggots. Very small amounts of ground bait here. It's a big match weight place. I mean monumental match weights. I think it was Bradley, was he? The fishery manager was telling me yesterday when I talked to him about it. He said when it's on, it's really on. And wait for this. I think he said they had 200 pounds of weight in their matches, which is pretty amazing. And you have to ask yourself, how many am I going to catch? I'm really, really close in there. That was a good fish, guys. That was a good fish, but he went straight. God, I hope it wasn't. See, if you use worms on red maggots, I've got a few worms. I've got to be honest, come to this swim, or this edge along here, because they've cut it back, and being the winter, and there could be a perch in here. I mean, there's some real big perch. I've heard of, I think it's fish over 4 pounds have come out. Right, bear with me guys, I'm going to have a quick sandwich and I'm going to start putting some loose feed in there. Now this is pretty much my ideal split technique scenario. I've got my float rod on my left and I've got the Quivertip on the right. So should I get a bite on the float, I can pick it up and I can come between this gap in the trees for striking, and the Quivertip straight over there. Now I couldn't fish out the other way round really. The Quivertip wouldn't work straight in there, and the float I could fish out there. But this is absolutely ideal. I've got the setup like this. I've got my reels down there, as you can see, straight down to my trolley rest, I'm going to call that, the barrow rests, and that's close enough in there. My float is just in there. I'm just going to stand up, watch me miss a bite now, so you can see exactly where the float is, just there. That last fish I lost took me right under there. I just got a bad feeling it might have been a big perch. And the Quivertip down here has not quivered at all yet. I'm set up here with my adjustable legs on the chair. I've got maggots in there, red maggots. I do like, and perch like red maggots. Red maggots is pretty much a standard bait in the winter. A few grains of sweet corn, leftover worm from another trip. Look a bit sad. I got them a bit wet actually, a bit sad there, but they're going to take an outing and a little bit of ground bait. Actually, not much ground bait to last me the afternoon. I'm just looking over there, the guys. I haven't seen one fish come out in what, half an hour? Is it going to be one of those days? I would have liked to see some tweaky bites on that Quivertip just to show me there's fish out there. I don't know, being match waters, have I got to go down to like 2 pound bottom and size 20 hooks and all that? I'd rather hope not. I'll tell you what, oh, there we go. No, I missed him. I've also got a nice cafe over here, just over there by the car park, and a container with some tackle and bait and stuff in there as well. So it's pretty handy. It's a social sort of place. They do quite a lot of match fishing here, I understand. So obviously that cafe, and I believe the cafe is open to the public. It was when the last time I was here. And when this all greens up around here, because don't forget this is a winter, when it all greens up, it's quite a pretty place. I quite like it actually. I know it is a commercial fishery, but a lot of these commercials for beginners are absolutely ideal. Or indeed experienced anglers that are looking to hone their techniques a bit more and experiment with baits and stuff like that. Lord knows I'm an experimenter. That Quivertip, I really did expect it might fold round. I've got a float that's a billy making canal grey, which I might use on there just so that it gives me absolute ultra sensitivity, because I'm fishing so close. It's not even a rod length out. Well, I've got a fish on at long last, guys. I've been coming back with scales on the hook, and I think they're small carp. Probably those F1s, which they have got in here apparently. Very, very good scrappers, and they put them in here because they can feed in the winter. We're a bit slow coming on the feed at the moment. But it is indeed either a big crucial or one of those little F1s. I'm on a small blued hook now, long shank blued hook. So they're not going nuts. But listen, fish is a fish, isn't it? As we always say. Here we go. I don't actually know what F1 sort of stands for. What does it mean? Anybody out there know? I know they're like short, fat, dumpy, fast growers. They're like that, but it's sort of like a crucian, aren't they, really? Be pleased to be catching crucians like that all day long. Good condition though. Let's get him back. Why do I always say, let's get it back? I mean, people who don't fish say, well, what do you normally do? Take them home and put them in a sandwich. In the UK, we put basically all our freshwater fish back. Otherwise, there'd be nothing left, would there? Well, got the skunk out of the boat anyway. I'm having trouble shotting that float down, because I've changed the hook link. I've got really light. I'm just about to change and put a longer hook link on the feeder. And I've got a small hook. I'm going all match, because that seems to be the guys over there fishing with pole, and I've seen them put a couple of those F1s out. That was a bigger carp that rolled over there. Look at him. Just thought there'd be more aggressive takes, so I'm using a real small hook here, strong wire, wide gape, barbless. So rigged up again, got the feeder there. I've got the running ledge on it. You can see just a plain opening feeder, and about quite a long link there, but it's like 2.2. Just pull that maggot down over the hook. So I've got 3 maggots on there, and I'm hoping I can get a fish on the feeder. Just trying to go just short of the point of the island. I'll just bump it once to empty the feeder. I've got to sort my float out, because it's either up or down. It's been a real pain to be very, very naughty. Now, a little tip you could get here, I find with twin handle reels, when you're tightening up to the Quivertip, just take the tension up, or indeed the float, the weight of this handle, if I push it forward, look, see? That's enough to pull the feed around and the Quivertip, and it could move your bait out of position. So single handle reels, you're going to have to adjust so that the handle is on the bottom, it's down. If you don't want to pull it out of position, the double handle reels like that are balanced better. That's in my experience anyway. I'm going to have to put another shot on that float. I'm having nightmares with it. So another tip for beginners, when you got a rod rest like this, just a V, I tend to put one of the rod rings, look, if I can move this a bit more for you, just there, so that if you do get a crash take, presumably you've got the reel on back wind if you're not actually looking at it. The rod ring does at least catch and give you a bit of grip there. It doesn't come sliding out of the rod rest. And then back up this end, because I put rubber bands to hold my rods together. If you need the rubber band there, you can also roll those down just behind here, so that just gives you a little bit of resistance rather than actually pop it down, look, like this. That's for carp fishing. That's no good for float fishing because you've got to pick the rod up fast. Just a couple of little tips there. Well, I'm on again with the float. I'd say it's another one of those F1s. Oh no, proper carp. Proper carp, he's belly hooked, I think. Oh well, that means he might ping off. Yeah, it's a mirror. I wonder. Let's get this lead out of the way. Could we get lucky with this one? Yes, we have. Now this one is a pretty one. That shows they're digging around in the swim. And lovely fish this one is. That is absolutely mint. Beautiful tail on it, perfect scales. I can imagine that one when it's about 25 pounds. Beauty. Oh well, they're in there. I'd literally just cast this one out. We're going to give it another throw. Just that's weird. Normally you'd fish towards the island. Standard procedure. Got a longer link on there. I'm not putting anything in except the ground bait there. Not bothering when if they're feeding, they're feeding. But I've had a bit of weed on the hook come in a couple of times, so I'm just trying to feel around the bottom. I'm not going to bump that one, I'm going to leave it. Just give it one bump, Graeme, why not? Straightens the leader out. Right, let's get that float sorted. Right, they're in the swim moving around, but they're, I don't know, they're not sort of feeding properly like that. That's what I'm imagining. That was 2 mags. So I'm just going to top that one off. Actually, I'll try it with 3. The thing is with barbless hooks, the maggots do wriggle off. So it might pay you to put extra one on to allow for it to come off. I've changed the shot a little bit. They're not going nuts. They are not going nuts. See, the float stays up. It just takes a long time to sink and settle. I can put a little pinch. I'm trying to do it on the proverbial little and often basis, you know. And the one that does surprise me is that quivertip. I've not even bumped a fish or felt a fish on that yet. It's all been on the inside. It's getting close to lunchtime now. Well, 4 fish in the winter, back into winter, coming into, so they tell us, early spring. You wouldn't know it with the weather, but it's not bad today. It's not a bad day. Fish, I think the water's cold still. I still think the water is cold. Anyway, so people know what they are. The F1s for the guys that are living in other countries. They obviously, oh, Mr. Smith again. Guys, let me just throw this one out. Bear with me. It's annoying because I just spent 10 minutes replumbing the float because I'm not happy with the way it's sitting. And I was a bit over depth, you know, maybe that was why I'm not getting the bites I should get. But anyway, the F1 is bred for match fishing, competitions that is, in the UK in the winter. It's a fish that feeds right through the winter. And of course the match one like that, they don't want really to catch, say, one great big carp, which wins the match. Say they've got 10 anglers around a lake. One big carp's in there, one guy catches it, 10, 15, 20 pounds. That's it, all over and done. Most guys know during the winter you're not going to get 2 or 3 big fish out. The F1s are smaller. I'm going to say 1 to 3 pounds on average, if there is such a thing as an average. And obviously there's loads of them, so everybody has a good chance of catching a few fish. A, it's an entertainment factor, and B, everybody can weigh in a little bit, so they're all in with a chance of winning the match. I, of course, as you know, have no interest in match fishing whatsoever. My competition is here against these guys, trying to get anything. Like a lot of you people, you just want to catch something. Now they've slowed up on the other side. I noticed the ripples, they've got a wind over there, so they just slowed right up over there. I wonder if these fish actually come around in a circular motion. I've had no roach bites, no bream bites, no perch. There's a bite on that feeder there then. The last feeder, it pulled right round, slacked back, the line was all loose. I tightened up on with the reel down here, just tightened up with the reel. When I looked again, it was slack again. That means the fish has picked the bait up and he's already hooked himself against the feeder and he's bumping the feeder along. So that was what we call a slack line bite on the feeder. I don't understand why they're not going crazy on the inside here. It's beyond me. I think I will now. I think I'm going to go crazy and see what's in here. See what the old dear's given me. Oh, a packet of crisps. She obviously thinks they shut early here, so she obviously hasn't overfed me. Finally, boys, the feeder went round. The old feeder rod, Quivertip went round. I think the batteries are going to the alarm, but I see one or two sort of movements over there on the point of the island. Maybe it's just taking everything. It's taking a bit of time to get feeding today. Winter fishing is nothing like the summer, that's for certain. Very easy to overfeed fish. Well, they're just not feeding. I don't think you overfeed them, I think they're just not feeding themselves. I'm on a small hook here, so I've got to take my time with it. Thing is with yeah, it's another one, about a couple of 3 pounds. Thing is with the weight of the feeder and a light hook link, you can actually pop fish off if the feeder is out of the water. Well, it's nice to get one of those. 2 on the float and 1 on the feeder. Well, no, got it yet. Yeah, that's a nice one. You see the maggots just nicked in the corner. He's obviously picked that up, fell out, moved away. That is like a balloon, that fish, is it not? Wow, you'd like to catch crucians like this all day long, wouldn't you? Look at that. Chunky, fat. Can't call it lean and mean, can it? Tough and fat, great fighter. Well pleased. Bit of action in the winter, you can't beat it, can you guys? I feel they might come on the feed now. It's looking like 2 to the float and 2 to the feeder. I'm not altogether sure this one's a carp, is it? Probably is. Yeah, the way it's digging now. So it's the back end of winter. There we go. Nice little scrapper on the common. A bit of sport. We're back on with the feeder again here, guys. Hooked itself, just folded it right round on top. I nearly ate a whole sausage roll in one bite. That one just pinged off. It happens. That's another one of those little feisty carp. On the feeder, the tip just went wham. You know, the hook itself, skill factor out of 10, 2. That's 1 for me putting the bait on the hook, and 2 for being able to reach the edge of the island. That's what I was doing halfway through a cold sausage roll. Sausage and ketchup. 3-day-old sausage that the wife saved up for me. Well, float again, so it's sort of pretty even Stevens between the float and feeder. They just look like giant crucians to me. But acceptable. Whoa! Check that boy out, boys! Filming the ducks. Filming the ducks, people. That was straight to camera, filming the ducks. Shows I wasn't getting any bites. I thought, what's that movement? Why's my rod rest moving? Why is the bank shaking? That's the feeder folded round. Hopefully you can get this action on this one. This is about number 12. Oh, I thought it was just like F1s. No, I just talked to a guy that was using a pole in the corner. Then he said, no, there's other good carp in it as well. You know, some big ones in it. I guess this just goes to illustrate that in cold weather, the F1s will give you some sport, and that's really what it's about, I think. You know, it's for the matchman, but as pleasure anglers, we can take advantage of the fact that these things are pretty avid feeders through the winter. They'll not the float as well. Where we can look, get a bit of sport. Right, fine, I'm not on a carp rod, I'm on a regular 13-foot match rod and an Avon quiver. That's what I was digging. Gonna net himself in a minute. This one's a regular carp, I'm going to call it. It's a very thin one, not the world's greatest mouth, but bigger than the F1s. He's a long, thin one. He's a right peculiar looking thing, but at the end of the day, we can only catch what's put in here, and he's still feeding. He's on. He's on. There you go. Filming birds and scarecrows again. There we go. Well, I've had something like 14 of these F1s. It's got a sort of coy look about him, that one. Got his fin up as well. So, good little session. Cold water session. I can well see why the matchmen fish for these. Look, I couldn't do it more than one day, I've got to be honest. I want to catch an 8 or 9 or 10 pounder as well. But they have at least, you know, give me some action, give me some bites. Sounds like the air siren coming. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. I'm going to get this guy back and pack up. 15 of these little chappies. So fun to catch. It just goes to show that even on a winter's day, and the fish aren't really feeding the other species, bream, roach, perch, don't seem to be showing. These guys do bite, and that's what they're there for the matchman to catch, and of course we can catch them as well. Thanks for watching the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. I'm going to get this guy back. Got a sort of coy look about the head of that somehow, hasn't it?